Let's talk about the Trump administration's 50% tariff on imported steel and aluminum. This policy, announced with much fanfare, was pitched as a bold move to protect American industry and jobs. But what does it really mean for the country, and who actually benefits? The official reason? National security. America needs its own metal industry for tanks, ships, and apparently indestructible sporks. The administration argued that without a strong domestic supply of steel and aluminum, the U.S. military could be left vulnerable in times of crisis. It's a classic appeal to patriotism, conjuring images of factories churning out the raw materials of freedom. It's protectionism. Keep foreign metals out, keep American jobs in. The idea is simple. If we make it harder for other countries to sell us their metals, American factories will have to ramp up production, and more Americans will get hired. It sounds straightforward, but the reality is much more complicated. But here's the catch. Nearly half of U.S. aluminum is imported, mostly from Canada. In fact, Canada is not just a trading partner, it's our closest ally and neighbor, with deeply integrated supply chains that have developed over decades. Our supposed threat is our friendly neighbor to the north. Canadian aluminum isn't just cheap, it's high quality and reliable, and American manufacturers depend on it to keep their own businesses running smoothly. Slapping a massive tariff on Canadian aluminum is less about defense and more about starting a trade war over hockey rules. It's a move that risks alienating a key ally and disrupting industries on both sides of the border, all for the sake of a political talking point. This isn't just theory, it's a real policy with real consequences. When tariffs go up, the cost of raw materials rises, and that ripple effect spreads through the entire economy. On June 5, 2025, tariffs doubled from 25% to 50%, sending shockwaves through industries that rely on these metals. Stock prices for companies that use steel and aluminum tumbled, and headlines warned of price hikes and layoffs. Cars, planes, construction, appliances, and even your soda can, everything gets pricier. The cost of making things goes up, and those costs get passed on to you, the consumer, whether you're buying a new car or just a can of soda. The goal is to protect metal jobs, but it ignores all the other American jobs that depend on affordable steel and aluminum. For every job saved in a steel mill, many more could be lost in industries that use those metals to make finished products. It's like saving the sheep by starving everyone else on the farm. You might protect one part of the economy, but you risk harming the rest. We've seen this before. Protectionist measures spark retaliatory tariffs, leading to a global economic slap fight. Other countries respond in kind, targeting American exports and escalating the conflict. The promise is a manufacturing resurgence. The reality is chaos and higher costs for everyone. Instead of a boom in American industry, we get uncertainty, layoffs, and a more expensive cost of living. Businesses scramble, costs skyrocket, and consumers pay the price. Small business owners, factory managers, and everyday families all feel the squeeze as prices rise and profits shrink. This isn't a new idea, and it rarely ends well. History is full of examples where trade barriers backfired, hurting the very people they were supposed to help. And that brings us to a certain red and white can, a symbol of how even the most everyday products can get caught up in the crossfire of global trade wars. Coca-Cola, an American icon, has been a staple in fridges, lunchboxes, and celebrations for generations. Its signature red can is instantly recognizable, a symbol of refreshment and Americana that's traveled the globe. But behind that familiar fizz, there's a hidden ingredient that's just as crucial as the secret formula: aluminum. The company relies on aluminum cans for a quarter of its sales, making the metal a lifeline for its business. Every day, millions of these cans roll off assembly lines, destined for thirsty customers worldwide. Aluminum is perfect, lightweight, endlessly recyclable, and it keeps your drink cold and crisp. It's the unsung hero of the beverage world, making mass distribution possible while supporting recycling efforts. But now, a 50% tariff has made that key ingredient suddenly, painfully expensive. The cost spike is sending shockwaves through the industry, threatening to upend decades of business as usual. Coke faces tough choices: absorb the cost and risk angering shareholders who expect steady profits, raise prices and risk losing loyal customers who might balk at paying more for their favorite drink, or switch to different packaging, like glass or plastic, which comes with its own set of challenges, from higher shipping costs to environmental concerns. Even before the tariff hike, Coke's CEO warned that rising aluminum prices were squeezing margins and threatening the company's bottom line. Now, with costs soaring higher than ever, the economics of a can of Coke are upside down. What was once a simple, reliable package is now a source of financial stress. The company must decide, stick with cans and risk losing money on every sale, or pivot to something cheaper, potentially changing the way Coke is delivered to millions. This isn't just a business headache, it's a threat to their entire business model, forcing a rethink of everything from supply chains to marketing. The humble can, once a symbol of convenience and innovation, is now a casualty of international trade disputes and shifting global alliances. Every beverage company, from giants to small startups, is caught in the same bind, scrambling to adapt as costs rise and uncertainty grows. The price of a cold soda is now tied to global politics, trade wars, and decisions made far from the factory floor. With a single signature in Washington, your Coke just got a lot more complicated, and the future of the classic can is suddenly uncertain. With aluminum costs soaring, Coca-Cola is eyeing a return to plastic bottles. Plastic is cheap, versatile, and an environmental nightmare. About half of Coke's products are already in plastic. Increasing that share is easy for their vast network. It's a quick fix for profits and prices, but a disaster for sustainability. Trading aluminum for plastic means swapping a tariff problem for a pollution crisis. It's like fixing a leaky faucet by flooding the house. Economic incentives are pushing Coke and others toward more plastic, despite years of progress on sustainability. A policy meant to protect American industry could end up flooding the world with more plastic waste. This is the law of unintended consequences in action. One government move and the world's beaches pay the price. So much for making America beautiful. Companies love to tout their green credentials until it gets expensive. Coca-Cola had been increasing aluminum use because it's highly recyclable. But a 50% tariff makes those sustainability goals look cheap. When profits are threatened, environmental promises evaporate. Even before the tariff hike, Coke was already scaling back its green goals. Now, the world's top plastic polluter is poised to make things worse. Environmental advocates are horrified. Tariffs are pushing companies from recyclable aluminum to single-use plastic. It's a perfect storm. Bad policy gives cover for abandoning sustainability. The result? More plastic, less responsibility. The tariff isn't just a Coke problem, it's a wrecking ball for the whole economy. When tariffs hit, it's not just the price of your favorite soda that goes up. The impact ripples out, touching nearly every corner of American life, from the biggest industries to the smallest family businesses. Cars? Tariffs could add hundreds or even thousands to the price of a new vehicle. That means families might have to put off buying a car or settle for less than they need. Dealerships feel the pinch too, as fewer people can afford to upgrade. Building a home, steel and aluminum costs will drive prices up, slowing construction and hurting jobs. Contractors may have to delay projects, and home buyers could see their dreams put on hold as budgets get stretched thin. Appliances, bikes, canned goods, everything gets more expensive. Everyday essentials and even the little luxuries become harder to afford, squeezing household budgets and forcing tough choices at the checkout. Businesses face a choice: absorb the cost and risk closure or pass it on to you. Most will raise prices. For many small businesses, these extra costs can be the difference between staying open and shutting their doors for good. This is the flaw of broad protectionism. A few metal mills win, but dozens of industries and millions of consumers lose. The benefits are concentrated, but the pain is spread far and wide, touching nearly every American household. It's robbing Peter to pay Paul, except Peter is every American shopper. Every trip to the store becomes a reminder that your dollar just doesn't go as far as it used to. The policy creates a handful of winners and a nation of losers. While a select few celebrate, the vast majority are left to deal with the fallout: higher prices, fewer choices, and more uncertainty. If you buy anything in America, you're paying the price. No matter where you live or what you do, these costs find their way into your wallet. The ripple effect is massive. One policy change sets off a chain reaction, disrupting supply chains, raising costs, and making life harder for everyone. The promise of protection is a myth. Politicians may talk about saving jobs, but the reality is far more complicated and far more costly. The reality is higher costs for everyone. In the end, it's American families, workers, and businesses who pay the real price. Let's be clear. Tariffs are a tax on Americans. When imports get pricier, that cost lands on your grocery bill, your car payment, your appliances. Businesses can't absorb a 50% cost hike, they pass it on. For Coke, a 1-cent increase per can adds up to millions. For For you, it's higher prices on everything from soda to cars. It's death by 1,000 cuts for your budget. The promise of jobs ignores the cost to 330 million Americans. The benefits are visible, factory ribbon cuttings, but the costs are everywhere, hidden in every purchase. You can't wall off cheaper goods and expect prices to stay low. That's not politics, it's math. The contradiction is glaring. You can't have it both ways. If tariffs change corporate behavior, they change your prices too. The math always wins. Big companies can pivot, but small businesses can't. Craft breweries rely on cans, they can't just switch to bottles. A 50% tariff is an existential threat for them. Small manufacturers, local shops, and family businesses are hit hardest. The policy meant to help Made in America is crushing small American businesses. Meanwhile, the administration pushes plastic straws while making cans expensive. It's policy incoherence at its finest. Grand gestures replace real strategy, and small businesses pay the price. The chaos isn't just economic, it's systemic. The fallout will last long after the headlines fade. His crisis didn't appear overnight, it escalated fast. February 2025, tariffs jumped to 25%. By June, they doubled to 50%. Companies tried to adapt, hoping it was a bluff. It wasn't. The 50% tariff is a game changer, forcing companies to rethink everything. It's the difference between a headache and a hurricane. This escalation pushed businesses into corners, higher prices, worse environmental outcomes. It's a self-inflicted wound delivered in 2 painful doses. Each step narrowed options for American companies. The result? Scar tissue for the whole economy. Now, we all pay the price. We're at a crossroads, thanks to a deeply flawed policy. For Coke, the path leads to more plastic and less sustainability. The iconic can may become a premium item. Plastic bottles will dominate. Other industries face inflation, supply chain chaos, and closures, especially small businesses. The working class, supposedly protected, will bear the brunt. International retaliation will hurt American exporters. The best fix? Reverse the tariffs, but that's politically unlikely. Maybe we'll see gradual reductions or exemptions, but the damage is done. This is a cautionary tale. National pride can lead to national self-harm, and the price will be paid, one plastic bottle at a time.